I'd like to now introduce the senior senator from the great state of Minnesota, Amy Klobuchar.
Thank you, Al. Thanks so much. You know, you guys, it was a little nicer than the introduction I got a few months ago, where someone actually introduced me as Minnesota's senior citizen. That happened to me. But it is great to be here, especially with so many young people from all over the place. I was thinking my own daughter, I just talked to her. I guess my #1 qualification for being here is that I am the mother of a 15-year-old. And so I just talked to her. She was studying for her tests in school for the next day. But for some reason, she was reminding me, she texted me something of this thing that happened when I was campaigning. And she said it was the most embarrassing moment of her life. And I was doing she was like 12 years old, and I was on a radio show, and they were asking funny questions. It was at a university campus in Minnesota. And one of the questions they asked me that I could not answer was, what does LOL stand for? Right? Laugh out loud. I could not answer, and she goes, "Mom, you have never embarrassed me more in my life." So anyway, it's not easy, but I can tell you one of the things that I've learned from having a 15-year-old in the public schools her whole life is just all of the work that still needs to be done for you guys. I think we need to even be thinking beyond this election to the next generation in all of the decisions we make, all of the policies that we put forth. My daughter was in a school for 2 years where it was 90% free and reduced lunch, 17 languages in her classroom, 35 kids in the class, and they ran out of desks, and they had kids sitting in the corners. So I've seen this firsthand and know what we need to do to change things. And I think a lot of it may have to do with putting someone in the governor's office that's going to focus on education. Now, I think you all know the statistics. In Minnesota, a child is born into poverty every 53 minutes. A child dies before his or her first birthday every single day. But I don't think you guys are here because of the statistics. You're here because you're thinking of your own future, because of your friends, because of your brothers and your sisters, because of your nieces and your nephews. Because these are real kids that are having trouble. And for too long, our children have not had the voice of the government. When you look back during those Bush years, instead their concerns fell on deaf ears. Well, they are going to hear us today. Is that right? They're going to hear us all the way to Washington, D.C. as we look at the importance of funding more teachers, right? We look at some of the work that needs to be done with health care. And I can tell you, this wasn't an easy road last year. Can give you one example? They had this fancy hearing about the health care bill, and one of the male senators, Republican, they were talking about maternity benefits, right, for moms. And he said, well, I don't know why we'd have those benefits included for pregnancy and maternity benefits. He said, I don't use them. And it was a woman senator, Debbie Stabenow from Michigan. She didn't miss a beat. You know what she said? She said, I bet your mother did. So it starts all the way from babies, and Marian Wright Edelman knows this, and goes all the way up to early childhood before you get to school. That's one of the best investments we can make. And then it gets to school, and then it gets to make sure you have health care. And we did some changes that were really important. For once, if kids get sick, they're not going to be kicked off of their health insurance. That is a first. We haven't had that in this country until the last year. We finally need to do something about nutrition in schools. That's something I've been working on, because I can tell you when I go into those cafeterias, and if I had a choice between the French fry line and the yogurt line, I probably would pick the wrong line, right? So we have to do more to make sure that the food in the vending machines is healthy and that you guys are getting healthy food, because we're not doing right by you if we put bad food in our schools. So you need to support that as well when you go to school every day. So there's a lot of work to be done, a lot of marches to be had. And today's march may have been a short distance, but the fight for your rights, for children's rights, is a marathon. So I know you're going to be with us every step of the way, and we're going to make changes in Washington and in this Capitol in St. Paul. Thank you so much. Have a great day. Thank you, everybody.